Time for some football, guys, talking basketball. Where do we start, man? I guess we haven't talked about Game 7 on here, so I guess that's where we have to start, right?
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
And unfortunately, the story of the game, like the number one thing people are going to remember about that game is Tyrese Halliburton tearing his Achilles.
hmm
It's just awful. And I know, what was that last episode I said I thought he was fine. Clearly I was wrong. I I hated seeing that so much, man. And they didn't show the replay in the arena, but I kind of saw it all unfold and I saw his reaction. And I turned to my wife. I said he tore his Achilles. She was like,
Yep.
"What?" I said, "Yeah, no doubt." And then finally, a couple minutes down the line, was able to see the replay on Twitter. It it's as brutal of an injury, and honestly, as dramatic of an injury as I can recall on the biggest stage of a sport.
Yeah.
Game 7 of the NBA Finals, he comes out on fire,
What, three
hitting
or four from three?
3 of 4 from three, hitting them from deep, talking noise, and then to see him kind of crumble to the floor like that, and he instantly knew what happened. It just sucked, man. No one wanted that.
No.
Thunder didn't want it. Clearly, the Pacers didn't want it. Thunder fans didn't want it. I thought the Thunder fans, once we realized he was really hurt, place got very quiet, cheered for him as he was getting helped off the floor. I thought that we certainly handled it better than Toronto did Durant back in the day. But it just created this really weird energy in the building, among the players, among the fans. I don't know. The rest of the first half, it was just, I don't know. It's just this strange energy. The fans were still in it, making noise, but you could tell everyone was just like, "Oh, that sucks. Like this isn't what we wanted."
Yeah. Well, number one, you don't want star players to go down with injuries like that have, I mean, and this is so late, we're, 2/3 of the way through June and the season starts before you know it, which is crazy. That's what happens when you play in a finals. So, my guess is he'll probably miss the entire next season or, at least the massive part of it. You never want to see that. And the other thing is like you want to go out and earn it against the best with and not have to hear excuses or anything. And it's not an excuse, it's a fact. It happened out there. Um so yeah, it was not a good deal. And man, it's just I guess those guys, as tall as they are and as as long as that Achilles tendon is, whenever they've got something going on in that calf and they try and push it and go through, they seem to be at a very elevated risk for an Achilles, as we've seen over the last couple of years. There's been several of these, so hated it. Yeah, well, I'm glad they didn't show it the replay. We saw it on TV up close, zoomed in high definition, and it's just like we've seen before. You could see the pop as that Achilles snaps and comes loose, and just brutal, brutal.
Credit to the Pacers, man,
Yeah, they fought.
because I was very impressed with the way that they played after Halliburton went down. And even when the Thunder, the Pacers were up at halftime. After that, like they just kept playing, and
Mhm.
I was confident that Thunder were going to create separation in the second half. But even when the Thunder pushed it to 22, and the place is going crazy, the Pacers without Halliburton still wouldn't die. It
Yeah,
just had to make us all uncomfortable in there when they cut it to 10 in the last couple of minutes with like 2.5 to go. And you're just like, there's no way they can do this. There's no way. Is there a way? There's no way. But
yeah,
I have a ton of respect for the guys on that team. I mean, what a fantastic season. And I think that game 7, like Halliburton going down, and them still playing the way that they did and fighting the way that they did. It says like everything about that group of men.
Yeah, and how upset they were after it was over. You know, that was a group that legitimately thought they were going to come in and win the championship, and they lost Halliburton, but they continued to battle those guys. A bunch of the guys on the team were visibly upset, um, because like we were talking about, we got a good young team with a great young core. Feels like they're going to be really good for a long time. But when you've got the opportunity to win one, you got to do it because you never know if you're going to be able to make it back again. It felt like in in 2012, like that we were going to be right there battling and just couldn't get back. It's that difficult. So yeah, they performed well, and it was nervous. Like I didn't even feel great when they pulled the starters. I was like, hopefully that's not a shot, a possession too early. But it was awesome. You had to give those guys their moment. That was really cool.
It was amazing. Did I cry? Of course I cried. What what are you even talking about? But I I think the Thunder's ability to overcome just how poorly they shot the ball in the finals, it just speaks to that defense, man. I wore a shirt to game 7 that says defense wins championships. And their defense once again was the reason that they won that game. And it's the reason that they won the championship because they were 11 of 40 from 3 in game 7. Like they didn't shoot it well. They missed 9 free throws, but they forced 23 Indiana turnovers and they scored 32 points off of those.
That's huge. Yeah.
Defense wins championships, Ted. It's
Yep.
still a fact.
That's right. And I don't know how you feel, but I guess part of me is really excited because they won the championship, and other than a handful of games in the playoffs, it kind of felt like they didn't ever really have their best stuff, you know? And they were still able to go out and get wins when they had to, and they could put together some stretches and some runs where they had some great basketball. But I guess the point of that is not to take anything away from what they've done, but I I don't think this team is done improving, I guess is how I feel about it. And now that they've got that experience, they're over the hump in the playoffs, that maybe they're a little bit more comfortable in the future. I don't know, but I think they still got some meat on the bone.
I I talked to some of the people in the Thunder front office. After we got off the buses, we went into this area in the convention center. And the sense was now that we've got this first one, these guys, these young guys, they won't be as nervous in the playoffs. Like once you have one under your belt, they'll be able to play a little freer. And they're like, we're expecting these guys to play a lot better in the playoffs moving forward because they don't have the pressure of you gotta get that first one. They got the first one.
Yep.
It's you've accomplished that. So now that pressure to be the first Thunder team to deliver a championship to Oklahoma City and to the state of Oklahoma, like that pressure's gone. You did it. And they were basically like the way that these guys are, we think they're going to play much better in the playoffs moving forward. I was like, that is a scary thought for the rest of the NBA.
No, I totally agree. What is uh we got a great young nucleus. We've got the right sprinkled in role players. There's some great youth. What part of this team, what's going to be the most difficult part to keep together in your mind?
Everyone's under contract
Yeah. I
for next
guess I'm
season.
looking extended future, but
It
um
it all comes down to being able to pick and choose your times when you're going to dip into the luxury tax.
yeah.
And there's just no doubt in my mind that this ownership group is prepared and has been preparing to do that when the time comes. But it's balancing all of that with Chet, with J Dub, and of course with Shea. And I don't know how all of that's going to work out, but like there's no doubt they're going to want to keep that core of guys together. It's just a it's just a matter of making smart financial decisions. And this isn't something that only the Thunder are having to deal with. Every team in the league
Yeah.
is dealing with it. And this is even though Chet broke his hip and missed a huge amount of time, the Thunder were healthy in the playoffs. Healthy-ish. As healthy as anyone's going to be that deep in such a long season. So that's the thing that when I look at this group, I go, as long as they don't have horrible injuries, like I'm expecting Western Conference Finals and NBA Finals for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Which, that's to me, I saw a headline of an article that this championship is needs to have an asterisk next to it, and I think it's so stupid, and I don't care, and no one around here cares, but like that's part of the battle. It's not just who can put the ball through the hoop. I mean, it is, but who can weather the storm and stay healthy and keep their guys rested, and I that's one of the hardest battles of a championship, and it's not unique to this year. You can go and look every year and see critical injuries throughout the season, throughout the playoffs, and in every sport. It's a part of the game and one of the most difficult parts to navigate. I mean, plain and simple, the team that stays the healthiest is going to put themselves. I mean, granted that you are competitive and can go out there and do it on the field, like staying healthy is a major factor and decides championships every year in every sport.
Just a reminder, a guy that I think everyone had as a top 5 pick in last year's draft until he blew his knee out is going to be ready to go in Topic. The Thunder also have 15 and 24, and the NBA draft is tonight.
Right.
So they've got 15 and 24, and we'll see what they do. And I think they have 44 also. So we'll see what Sam Presti does. I know this. Whoever we pick, I feel good about it. I trust Sam Presti implicitly. Like, I feel good about it. But one question I have for you for game 7 is there like a moment that was like the most memorable moment to you? Because
I was
Shea
trying to.
had, what did he have? 29, 5, and 12. Some of those step back threes late were huge. But for me, man, I think it's the Dort logo three. I think that's like the most memorable thing that happened other than the Halliburton injury in game 7 for the Thunder was him. That ball seemed like it was in the air forever. And when it went in, it was almost this collective sigh of relief, even though the Pacers kept battling and kept battling after that. But it was almost one of those where it went in. And I don't know. I just looked around and it's like, there's no way he hits that. We don't win this game, right?
That shot was crazy. He put some loft on his three already, but that one, I think it went as high as it did far. And whenever someone shoots a three like that, and you've got time to think to yourself, wow, uh, that would be crazy if this one goes in, and you think about it and you watch and he splashes it perfect. That to me is easily the most memorable play of the game.
Maybe the most memorable thing is them needing Caruso to teach him to pop champagne. Those videos are so
That was
good.
great. That was great.
I the only other things from the game, like J Dub and Chet, were not good in the first half, and then they were really good in the second half. Chet, I
Mhm.
thought what Chet did on the defensive end was huge. Hartenstein's kid falling asleep on the stage during the trophy ceremony. That was an all time moment for that fan. I could only imagine the pictures that are going to come out of that for them, those are going to be incredible for the rest of his life. Like I know he wanted his son to be a part of the moment, but the fact that the kid like just the on-off switch just got switched to off. Everyone that's had kids knows how that goes, and that was such a funny moment.
Yeah, it was cool, and I thought it was awesome that he had him up there, and yeah, the celebration that was a lot of fun, man. Just I typically am I don't hang around for the celebration for the big games, the championships, but I watched a lot of that. That was can't miss TV. That was some great stuff.
Clay Bennett with an all-time performance on stage.
Yep.
Get the trophy, raise the trophy as you're handing it to the players. Once they have firm control of it, sneak off the stage without saying a single word.
Yep. Yep.
Just an all-time ownership performance, and there are a lot of owners all over professional sports that could learn a lot from Clay Bennett. Hire great people, stay out of their way.
Mm-hmm.
Don't micromanage things. Let the people you hired, these experts that you hired, do their thing. And I thought a perfect example of how Clay goes about operating the Thunder was what he did with the trophy presentation.
Yeah.
Just, hey, it's about these guys. It's not about me. I know I have to be up here. I'm going to raise this thing. I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully, no one notices.
Yeah. No, that was great. And I thought, you know, as they're passing the mic around and doing interviews and stuff, I thought it was I, you never know for sure, but one of they're easy team to root for because you feel like they are sincere. They root for one another. I loved what Dagnall said. I thought his little opportunity with the microphone was excellent. And I don't know, it's exciting because the first one is always super special, but you've also got that feeling like, hey man, they could put together a nice little run here of a couple of years if they can keep all these pieces together.
Parade was awesome. It was awesome. I mean, I just did we ever think we were going to have something like that in Oklahoma City?
Um, we started talking about it dangerously early, but I, you know what the first thing I thought is I'm surprised, and maybe people do it and it's just not covered, but I'm surprised that you don't see that with like college football national champions and
Oh,
you know
buddy,
what I'm
if
saying?
I'm going to say when, not if, I'm going to say when Oklahoma wins another national championship, we're having a parade.
Got to do it.
We're doing it. I know it's going to be expensive. We'll find the funds because that was incredible. And I'm going to make sure there's a radio broadcast bus for us so that Plank can just go
we're
like Stone Cold Steve Austin
we're
with
going
beers.
mobile. Yeah, I mean it was great. I mean just to kind of bathe in the aftermath and the championship. I thought it was incredible. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised with how many people were there. It didn't take very long after I was watching the coverage. I was like, okay, it looks like everyone went to the parade. I wasn't sure what the turnout was going to be. I guess you just never know. That, and it may have been one of those things where as you're watching it, it's like, if you live in Oklahoma City and you're close, it's like, okay, we got to go to that. We're getting out of here. Close the doors, shut the business down. We're going outside to celebrate.
Aaron Wiggins' speech to kick the thing off at what they called like the opening ceremony inside the arena was as good of a championship parade speech as I've ever heard.
It's awesome.
The place was fired up. Like he had me standing up like, yeah, Wiggs, yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, the presence on the mic from Wiggins was a pleasant surprise. I did not see that coming.
You had some great you clicked every performance that you needed. You had that one. You had you had Chet trying to find his ground. Uh and
Trying to
then
get his wits about him.
yeah,
What do you
and
say?
then
Let me lock in. Hold on. Let me
hey, hey,
lock
hey,
in.
let me lock it. Wait, maybe you want the mic? That was awesome. That was awesome. And then you had the at the end, that was it's just all great. It was great.
To see the state, to see Oklahomans show up the way that they did for that is not surprising at all to me. I thought that, and that's what makes this team special to me is we finally we have something that brings us all together, and that makes it so fun for me is that Oklahomans, we finally have this team where we all can get behind them and be on the same page. It's not OU versus OSU. It's, hey, man, we're all Thunder fans. Now, I did get a ridiculous amount of horns down hand signals during the parade, early on, I was like, this is a Thunder parade. What am I supposed to do here? And by the end, I was like, ah.
Uh,
So it was, but it was really, really funny. Like seeing you could see like there were pockets of a bunch of OU fans hanging out together. And the second they recognized me, there was some really fun back and forth stead. I had a good time up there.
that's awesome.
I had
Yeah,
no reason being up there. I shouldn't have been up there, but I was. So I was like, you know what? Let's give the people what they want. They want to go horns down. We're going horns down. Double horns down. Let's go.
that's awesome. Yeah, man, it is cool. Like to it's a it is kind of a galvanizing moment and something like we said previously. It's nice to have something really fun and positive that you can get behind and be known for.
I have never felt safer in my life than that parade. There was basically a tank behind us.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look, there were snipers on the roof. Like, shout out to the Oklahoma City Police Department, all the police officers. I saw a lot of FBI guys, some big guns. I was like, I feel even safer now.
It's a nervous time for large public gatherings for sure.
Right. But
So
they seem to have it covered. And
they
so I
were well
appreciate all those
rehearsed.
people that were out there helping with it. I went and talked to a bunch of them. Everyone was just excited to be there, man.
My thought was it's kind of a good time to go rob a bank if you were looking for it. Everyone is downtown, but yeah, man, that was you're right. Those some of those shots of like the tops of the buildings and the protection was lined up. That was great.
The lasting image of the parade is kind of Shea Gilgis Alexander turning around, arms out, with the Bauman Memorial in the background.
Hmm. Yeah, that yes, that was
I
cool.
I think that is going to be the image that lives on forever from this thing. And it's a reminder of like it's hard to put into words what this means for the state of Oklahoma. And I just that image is just going to I think you're going to see that image in all kinds of different places around the state of Oklahoma for the rest of eternity.
Yep, yep.
It's just an extremely powerful picture of like the pain that this state and this city have been through in the past, and just being able to celebrate something like this and just having that picture, that juxtaposition. It's just it's one of those things where like, yeah, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Like it's says so much.
It was awesome. Yeah, I saw some of the um the side by sides and all that is very well done.
I I did warn Mark Dagnall that when I see him in the park walking from now on, he should expect random big hugs from me. So he's fully. I was like, I'm serious. He's like, okay, sounds good. I was like, awesome, good. Just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, just Don't get surprised. Don't get scared. I'm coming in for a hug.
Anything else from the parade other than Oklahomans are awesome? And I thought the coolest part, or one of the coolest parts, was seeing the players go down. Those guys were barely on the buses, which was great. Just interacting with all the fans, like picking up kids, taking pictures. These guys are so easy to root for, man. They make it so easy. They just all seem like really good dudes.
Yeah. I One of the lasting images I'll remember is Mayor David Holt with his with his head in his hands after the massive F bomb out there, which was, I mean, you knew it was going to come at some point, right? And that was perfect. That was really cool too.
I think Jay Will delivered the only profane word the entire day, which it was a perfectly timed F bomb delivers unlike any other word. And that
That's
one
right.
was perfectly timed and it delivered.
That's right.
Big crowd pop.
That was great. I was worried. I was like, hey, Scissortail Park is, finally all grown in and looking good. It's going to look like, Woodstock 99 whenever they're done with it, they get out of there. But it ended up not being too bad. That place was packed.
It was really cool, man. The only other thing from the parade was, getting to see, being up close to seeing people express their appreciation for Clay Bennett for bringing the team here. And you got to remember, man, like that dude went through a lot, like took a lot of heat from a lot of people, most notably every Seattle resident. Like that was the process of bringing the team here. Like that was not easy on him and their family. And to see all of these fans express their appreciation for him and like all the thank you Clay chants that were going on, I was really, really happy that he got to experience that. It was cool watching him kind of soak it all in.
Yeah, that's incredible. Great story, man. Great story. And I know he's battled through, and this team has had to battle through, when it felt like, man, we're set up, we're going to be great forever. And then you go through some rough times and you're able to cap it off with the championship's incredible. Great story.
I was so sweaty. It was bad. Bad, man. But it was great. What an experience. It truly, I mean, my son just turned 4. I hope that he never forgets that. Like the experience of a lifetime. I just hope we've got some great pictures to remember it by, but I hope that's like, they talk about core memories for
Oh
kids.
yeah. Yeah.
I hope that one's locked in, man.
I imagine it will be. That
He
was great.
he was
Did he get a
confused.
champagne shower at all?
And no, we champagne out of the bottle, Ace of Spades out of the bottle. Great, great experience. Had a great time. I was, as Chet would call them, the Michelobes. I was hitting the Michelobes pretty hard. But but it was funny. My 4-year-old, he was confused because we were not supposed to be like in the parade. Like I'm telling you, this happened last minute while we were at the opening ceremony thing, and he he kept thinking like, why are we still driving to the parade? Like, when are we getting there? I was like, buddy, we're
This is
in the
it.
parade. Like, we're in it. He's like, oh. And once he figured kind of out what I was saying, he had a lot more fun. He was just very confused at the start. Like, where are we driving? It was
That's
pretty fun. My wife was cracking up. I, what a day.
What a day. That's awesome. It was a lot of fun, man. And like I said, I was pleasantly surprised with the turnout. I think Oklahoma City was I it was a great look. That was a great look. That was fun.
To any of the people, did you see some of these posts where people are trying to make it look like Oklahoma City didn't show up for the parade?
Yeah.
And it was like hours before it even started. Like, you guys are clowns.
It's the famous 2 hours before kick and no one's even in the stadium.
You're clowns. Like it, I don't even know. It shouldn't bother us the way that it does, but like you're just clowns. Those are
Yeah,
the actions of a clown. I don't know
that's
what
it.
else to say other than that.
That's it.